Sparks walk on the right side of the road. That one rule made me completely rethink how I approach factory building games. There are times when a game tries to redefine a genre and gets it very wrong. Then, there are times when a single change is just enough to blast it out of the park. Oddsparks and Automation Adventure is the latter. Instead of boring conveyor belts, you enlist the help of the adorable little creatures called Sparks. They move items from one location to another. Simple enough, right? But these Sparks obey just one rule. Sparks walk on the right side of the road. In a standard factory game, if you split a belt, items go one way and they never come back. But in Oddsparks, Sparks return. They walk back along the same path to pick up more items. That return trip shouldn't be wasted, and learning to build around it is where this game becomes something really special. I started a Let's Play series on this one, had full intentions of streaming the entire run, but after 3 episodes, I had to make a decision. I went offline. I needed to sit down and actually understand the implications of that rule before I could do this game justice. Over 60 hours later, here we are. If you're a fan of Factorio, Shapez, or even Satisfactory, you need to try this game. But be warned, there is a catch. Let's start where the game starts you, world creation. And there's a surprising amount here. You can enable a full sandbox if you just want to play around in a factory. You can adjust difficulty, turn on God mode so your character cannot die. Death typically comes from monsters or poisonous gas. There's no fall damage here. You can even skip ahead in tiers if you want to jump into a later stage of the game. The random seed system lets you preview your world's zones before you commit, which is a really nice touch. One thing worth noting, some of these options will disable achievements, but I think that's reasonable since a few of them are outright labeled as cheats. And some settings can only be changed at world creation, so read carefully before you dive in. Okay, let's get the obvious out of the way. Sparks walk on the right. This means completely rethinking how you lay out a factory. Instead of point A to point B movement, you are now planning a circular rhythm. What does a spark do on its return trip? Can you put it to work? The answer is yes. And learning to think that way is when the game really starts to open up. Sparks can only pick up items from their right side. There are different varieties of sparks that unlock later with different rules, but without spoiling too much, those tend to be situational. The core mechanic stays the same throughout. The game features a variety of zones, relatively safe woodlands, ocean-themed mountains, grassy plains. There's even some cave systems that open up for excavation and exploration later on. The automation is top tier. Roads replace belts, sparks replace conveyors, and the familiar loop of building tiers of items that combine into higher tiers of items, it's all here. What automation game would be complete without logic gates? And, or, XOR, not, they're all here. But the game ties logic into the spark mechanic in a very clever way. As an example, motion sensors send a signal down the wire when they see a spark moving past. This lets you build genuine traffic management systems to stop roadblocks before they happen. It's a really satisfying layer. Now, here's where the game really surprised me. Temperature zones. Unlocked around tier 6 or so, every zone in the game carries a temperature rating. Think plus or minus scale, with +3, -3 being large swings. These temperature zones affect building output. Let's say you want to set up a foundry. That hot foundry actually performs better in a frozen zone. You could place it where the raw materials are, or you could build a train line to ship those materials to the cold zone first. This mechanic arrived at exactly the right time for me. Just as the factory started to really sprawl and spread, it added a genuinely delightful twist. And I'm also going to admit, it sent me into a full tear it all down and rebuild spiral for a while. But no regrets. Speaking of tearing things down, no worries. You are fully refunded for anything you demolish. Experiment freely. As an aging gamer, one of the things I personally struggle with is recipes. Remembering what items you need to build specific things can be a real challenge. Thankfully, the developers put in what I can only call a built-in wiki. Every item, spark, material, building, and enemy in the game is cataloged and clickable. This becomes genuinely invaluable as you reach higher tiers. Oddsparks has an adorable visual style. I hesitate to call it cartoony. It leans into a cozy, welcoming aesthetic that suits the game really well. Most things are easy to identify at a glance, and factory navigation is helped a lot by the use of overlays. My one visual complaint involves the sparks themselves. While they are active on a road, they are very easy to tell apart. But the game lets you store sparks in inventory as items, and in miniature form, those become genuinely difficult to distinguish. I ended up giving specific inventory slots to specific sparks just to help keep things sorted. The audio is solid without being remarkable. Sparks sound exactly as you would imagine. Monsters have distinct audio cues that help with identification, and the factory machines produce sounds that match what they do. It all serves the game well. But here's what I really want to highlight. The developers went an extra step with accessibility. Chewing noises from monsters and the electric hum from the logic circuits, both known to cause real discomfort for some people, both of these settings have their own dedicated toggles in the audio menu. A lot of developers do not make individual sound effects mutable. Big shout out to Massive Mini Team for building that in. Okay, but surely not everything in this game is roses? No, it's not. The progression system is the standard unlock X, now make 100 of X. And while there is a very light story laid on top of this fetch quest mechanic, you are essentially clicking on an NPC in the main town hub, getting a little bit of dialogue, and then being asked to deliver a specific number of items. The good news, you can build a depot for each NPC that lets your factory deliver automatically. That feature saved me a lot of back and forth once I unlocked it. One of my bigger complaints early on, the game requires items to be in your personal inventory to build things. I get it logistically, but come on devs, this is a game. Here's the good news though. The game gives you your own depot that you can build. Anything placed in those depots counts as part of your inventory. So don't quit over this. The solution is there, you just have to find it. I wanted to flag this because some players might quit the game before they get this far, because it could be a deal breaker. And then there's the tutorial, or rather, the lack of one. Sparks Walk on the right side is told to you through an in-game pop-up. And that's it. The game leaves it entirely up to you to understand the implications of that statement. I almost stopped playing during the first 6 hours because it wasn't clicking for me. This is the main reason I stopped streaming after 3 episodes. I really needed to sit down, build some roads, put some sparks on them, and just play around with the system before it clicked and made sense. I would love to see a more built-out tutorial in a future update. Nothing elaborate, just have the game teach you how to have a spark pick something up, drop it off, and on the return trip, bring something else back. That one lesson would have saved me hours of confusion. Oddsparks and Automation Adventure is an amazing game trying to do something amazing. It wants to position itself as a gateway into the incredibly complex world of factory automation games. And to that end, I think it is a stunning success that deserves a lot more attention than it gets. It is not nearly as complex or punishing as Factorio. It is just as zen and relaxing as Shapez, and with an aesthetic that is welcoming and charming. If you have been on the fence about the automation genre but wanted something with a little bit of story, maybe a softer entry point, this might be exactly what you're looking for. If you just want to sit back, build stuff, throw sparks around Pikmin style, this is going to be a blast. If you are the type of player who wants to fully maximize every corner of your factory and build automation systems that run themselves forever, you will easily find hundreds of hours of play here. The logic gates alone could keep you busy for weeks, and they're completely optional. Oddsparks is a thumbs up recommendation for me. If you're a fan of the genre and you've played other factory games before, this is a must-have. If you're on the fence about automation games, maybe wait for a sale. The tutorial gap is real, and you will need some patience to push through the first few hours. If you're interested, my Let's Play episodes are linked below if you want to see the early game experience firsthand, including me figuring all of this out in real time. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more.